It's my first stream of 2021 and I'm pleased to be getting back to you. I hope you're all doing well. Please do come and say hello in the chat. Let me know who's out there and let me know that the stream's working. So it's good to be back. So today we've got a stream which will be quite short, I think, as I go through and just show you a few thoughts of my plans for this year, and also to share with you some of the work that you've been doing over on my Discord server. Hi there, Tom. Thank you very much. Glad it's working. Let me just sort out a few stream things here while you're coming on saying hello. Maria, hello again. Welcome to the stream. Glad you could make it. So let's see what we're doing today. So the first thing I'd like to do, because I know we've got quite a few new people that have joined the YouTube channel and the Discord server recently. So I'd like to run through a few things. Firstly, the streams are intended for a way for me to get more directly to share information with you, for either sharing news, new features, demonstrate a new feature in OpenToonz or into Homer. But also to work on some drawings and animation, and we'll get more onto that later, but that is kind of where my thought process has been. And I've taken a couple of weeks off over Christmas just to have a break anyway, but also to give me time to have a think about what we're doing with the channel and what we're doing with the streams, and that's what we're going to look at later on today as I consider my plans for 2021. So for those of you that are new around here, I'm streaming here on Twitch and on YouTube, and the stream is being recorded and will be available later on YouTube, along with timestamps to show you where I've been talking about each topic, so you can catch up to where you were before. I stream every Sunday, if at all possible, so do hit subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I start streaming. And I might also do the occasional stream midweek. That'll be a one-off in between stream, so do hit that bell to be notified. And you can follow me on my socials, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter, and on there I share animations, news, clips, links to useful things that I think you might enjoy. And if you want to support the channel, there's a number of ways you can do so. So here on YouTube, just subscribing and watching the videos really helps, along with sharing them with your friends and communities, and hitting like and commenting on all the videos where you've got something to share with us. And it's always useful to hear your comments and to read your comments, to know what you think about a video. It helps guide the channel for me to make similar content that you find useful. But if you can help me financially, you can always buy me a coffee, and there's a link down below to that. Or to get your comment noticed with a super chat here on YouTube, you can do a super chat to ask me anything you like and get your comment noticed. And I've also got a few products you can buy. So over on my Gumroad channel, I've got a backup tool for OpenToonz into Homer that I use quite regular, and I'll perhaps talk about that at another time in more detail. I've also got an auto lip syncing tool for inputting an audio file and it helping to generate a lip sync file to work with OpenToonz and to Homer. And a complete to Homer project for you, a background drawing that I made last year that you might find useful to look at, where I've got a few effects and a few techniques that I use that's sometimes useful to see the original project. And then there's my OpenToonz into Homer course on Udemy, and again I'll talk a little bit about that later, but basically if you want to take a look at that, there's a link down below, and that'll give you the best price and also to help out the channel the most. But having you here is good enough for me, so it's great to have you with me today. So the plan for today, I'd like to do a couple of things today. It's going to be a short stream, I believe, unless you have any questions for me. So the first thing I'd like to do is to take a look through the Discord server, because there's quite a few new people here, so I'd like to run through some changes I've made and just talk a little bit about what the channels are about. And then I'd like to take a look at the plans I have for the first part of this year. And I've already had a little think and scribbled some notes, but I'd like to just run them through with you and also to get them a little bit clearer in my mind, almost like a New Year's resolution of what I want to work on this year. But as always, I'm here to answer your questions, so if you've got any questions, do pop them in the chat. Or if you've got any thoughts you want to share with the rest of the team, then pop them in there. Hi there, Calogero, welcome. Glad you could join us. As always, I've got my tasty beverage with me, a lovely cup of tea, my favourite mug. I'm glad you're here actually today, Calogero, because a little later on I was going to mention you, but we'll get to that later. So as I say, Calo, today is going to be quite a short stream, I think, unless someone's got a question that we can go into quite deeply. And the intention is just to try and kick things off for the new year, get the plans ready to get started, and then next week, to crack on and to really get things moving. Yes, I like keeping you suspense when I can, but we'll come to that in a second. So, it's been a few weeks since I've been around on the stream. So, as always, I'd like to share a little bit about what you've been working on in Discord, if you don't mind, for some things that you may have missed. So, let's see what's been happening recently. Or to put it another way, what happened last week? So what happened last week? Well, let's take a little look. But think first I'll move over this side. That's better. So let me just bring up some windows. I've got quite a few open in the other monitor. So if you bear with me 1 second. So the first thing I wanted to mention was, for those of you that have missed it, recent videos of mine that I've been sharing. So since I last saw you on the stream, the previous video that I shared was the 2020 Rewind, where I included some of my favourite drawings and animations of last year. And putting this together kind of prompted me to host today's stream and to give me the topic of what I wanted to look into. So I've put in some of my animations and images, so if you've not seen it, take a quick look at that perhaps. And then on Friday last, I showed a video how I created the snowstorm effect that I used for the Christmas special on the stream. So I showed how you can use the snow effect node to create a snowstorm and how to animate it to start and stop and also increase in speed. So I've got the full details in there if you missed it. And then I also shared the actual snowstorm animation itself, which was a 10-minute animation just of the snowstorm with a black background that you can use in your own animations if you wish, once the adverts have gone past. And it's just the snowstorm beginning, playing through, getting heavier and heavier, and then ending at the end after 10 minutes. So feel free to take a download of that, cut it off to the piece of the snowstorm that's useful to you, and then you can mask out the background to overlay it over your animations if you wish. So on the Discord, I've had quite a lot of drawings and animations shared. So I wanted to show a couple of them today, just to highlight them. And if I don't get to share your drawing animation, apologies for that, I can't share them all, but I wanted to just show some of what's been happening over on the Discord server. So as always, Greg the Stickman animator's been blasting out quite a few drawings, ready for his animations here. So as always, superb quality, and it's just great to see this kind of quality of drawing appear. So here's another one, Princess Mecha Pony. again, each one of these drawings could actually be part of a commercial animation that you'd see on TV. So it's brilliant to see part of our community making drawings and animations like this. Also, Amar has been sharing drawings and animations. And if I just share this one, so this is where he used reference to work on the movement, to understand the movement for a butterfly kick. So I believe he either traced over the original the original film, or he marked it in some way to work out the position and the timing for the kick, which is a great way to use reference. So he shared this on the channel, plus also he overdrew to create a character over the top using the same timing and movement. And I think that's a really good exercise to do, and something I might do myself at some point. Absolutely, Calo. Greg is very talented. I'd love to see his work on the channel. Also, I wanted to show Tom your latest, or almost latest, challenge entry to the animation challenges, which is challenge number 7, which is a ball bouncing around a background that's moving. And I really enjoyed this one because it almost feels so complicated, yet kind of so simple, of just a ball bouncing around. And it's just a great entry, really well done, really well made, really well timed. So thanks for sharing that. And I noticed that earlier on today you also shared your next entry, but I was going to take a look at that separately and then share some comments in the entry chat room about that. We'll take a little look about that later on. Yes, Maria, it really was. It was great movement. And all of Tom's entries have either entered first time and completed first time or second time. You've really done excellent work, and it's great to see you progressing through all of the challenges. And you're almost pushing me to have to make another challenge because you're catching up with the ones that are already on there, which I believe we've got either 8 or 9 already prepared. But there's 10 in total that I want to make for this particular challenge route. So good luck for getting through the last couple of those. I think you'll enjoy the last couple. So next I wanted to share a couple of people's channels and information. And this, Kalo, is where you come in, because you've been sharing like mad the past couple of weeks. So let me just share a couple of your pieces. So first, you've got Mr. Flowerpot, or Mr. Flowerhead. And you've made this animation turnaround. I believe you said your daughter drew the picture originally and you helped bring it into OpenToonz Autohoma. And a great example of a turnaround, and just a good fun example of an animation. And I love these short animations, and every time I see them it prompts me into wanting to make more myself. And that is a little bit of what we'll get into later about my plans for the coming year. So I really enjoyed that. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, from your daughter. Excellent. The next thing you shared, if I bring this over, was a small demonstration, I believe. You was experimenting with parallax scrolling. You just hit the repeat button. By having 3 layers of clouds moving. And if you don't mind me saying, I think you'll agree, it's a fairly simple principle you've put together, but it creates a very good, clear background to use, ready for an animation. I believe you said you drew the clouds in Critter, and then you animated them in either OpenToonz or Autohoma. Yep, a tutorial for that would be excellent. And that brings me on to a point that I wanted to mention today, and that is that I know you do tutorials in French, and we've got 1-2 French users here on the Discord and on the channel. So I've been very happy to promote your channel. So I've also added a link to your channel over on the Discord, which you'll see in a little while. Hi there, Amar. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, Krita is a great program. I use it myself. I use it every week for the thumbnails that I use for my videos, and also for the occasional background or other drawing that I do. It's a very capable, really useful software. I also use OpenToonz and Tahoma as well sometimes, just for plain backgrounds. It's really quite capable of creating quality backgrounds, but some of the brushes and features in Critter just make it a great companion, I think. Cheers. And then you also made this beginnings of a ghost, I believe is I believe is what you called it. It's a ghost or something very similar, but I know you used some techniques to use a wave motion, a sine wave, to create the tail, and the tail just looks so smooth the way it moves. I think you've done a fantastic job here, and I know you've got a tutorial again in French about this, so if anyone's interested in learning how this was done, it's well worth taking a look at. Even if you don't speak French, you'll be able to follow the tutorial, so I highly recommend that. And I believe I've already added a link to that down in the description, so do take a look. But yeah, this happy little guy, I really like him, so I'm so pleased that you've done this and all of the other tutorials and animations you've worked on. I think people are going to find them very useful. Finally, I wanted to share one last thing of yours, if you don't mind. And that's your entry into the 11-second club for last month. That I'm really pleased with, that I know you did a great job of. So let me just hit play for that. And I really enjoyed that. I think you did a great job of the whole thing for this. And I think you did a great drawings. I love the shadows, the follow through, extra movement that you added onto it. And I know you yourself learnt a lot by putting this together, which is exactly the point of the 11-second club. So I'm really pleased that you completed this again for the second month running. And I'm looking forward to seeing your next one for next month, or the next time you decide to enter for that. But I also wanted to mention that when we looked at your previous month, hello there Flavio, welcome to the stream. I'm so pleased you've joined us. I know I've got something to mention about you in a second, but we'll come to that shortly. Yes, a few weeks ago we took a look at another entry to the 11-second club, and that was by Johan Whipfelder, who I was speaking to, that I know, Carlo, you got in touch with, and he found the stream, and he took a look at that stream where we examined the animation, and hopefully, if he hasn't already, he'll be joining us over in the Discord. So I've got my fingers crossed that he'll be joining us, and then also share some of his work in progress as he works on these kinds of animations as well as any others, because his animation of the mouse previously was just fantastic, as we all know. So hopefully he'll be joining us for that. And if I get any more news on that, I'll certainly let you all know. So, great timing, Flavio, for joining us. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I'm awful at butchering names, so I do apologise if I haven't. Welcome to the stream and welcome to the Discord. I know you're a new user with us, and we had a little chat a few days ago, and you shared some animations with me, and with your permission you said I could share them today on the stream. So I just wanted to share a couple of them, just for people to take a look at. The first one I'd like to share is one that you did share on the Discord server that some people may have already seen. And if I just run that up. And it's quite short, so I'll start that again. And this is demonstrating the, I don't know how it's pronounced, bokeh effect, of where light is reflected and refracted inside physical camera lenses and produces shapes of light, which is usually like a pentagon or octagon or something. And you've used it with what looks like heart shapes. You can see here a heart shape, and then as we step forward, the lights in the distance all along here go into a similar shape. And using this effect, you can create and decide on the shape that the light is refracted into to create the effect that you want. And this has been beautifully done, and is a great example of how you can use the effects to add so much to an animation. And I know that you shared the schematic with everybody on the server, which is really, really helpful and really appreciated. I think if you can, as you work on other effects, share schematics like this, that would be so helpful, because users don't always get to understand how the effects work and how simply you can connect them together to create a more complex effect. And even though on the screen here we've got, was it 10 nodes including the columns, if you just follow from one column through the path to the next node and consider them only one node at a time, you can see how they are used. So for instance, for this one here, we added brightness and contrast, and possibly I'm expecting you increasing the brightness to make it much brighter, because then you've got a body highlight around it, and that gets plugged into a source for the bokeh effect. But I won't explain this anymore because it's your schematic. I didn't work on it, so I can't add many more details. But brilliant, thank you for sharing that. That's been really helpful. And as you do share things, obviously if anyone's got questions, do fire them in, and I'm sure you'll be able to help explain them to us. So the first shape, node in shape, is the heart form. So that's this column 7, yep, that's plugged into the iris. Because the other sources are just labelled as sources, nothing special. I don't believe there's a difference between any of them as to which one has priority or is used differently. But yes, the iris is the shape that you want to produce the effects in. So thank you for sharing that. And also, after chatting, I know you've got a YouTube channel, and you do the occasional OpenToonz tutorial, and you do them in Spanish. So if any Spanish speakers or people that are happy just to look at the images to understand them, it's a great channel to take a look at, and I'm happy again to share the link to that down in the description, and that's over on the Discord as well. So 2 more clips of yours, Falvio, I'd like to share. Firstly, is this lovely ballerina. And I enjoyed this for a number of reasons. Let me play that on to repeat. Turn the sound off. There we go. I think it just looks really nice anyway. It's really nicely presented. I can see you using the shadow effect, possibly with a perspective distort effect on there for the shadow. But also the ballerina herself is what you call puppet or cutout animation, but it doesn't look as stiff as puppet animation can do, which is why it's so really well done, and why I wanted to highlight it as a demonstration of what you can achieve using puppet animation. And this is usually done by putting each body part in a different column, connecting them together at the right point, and then animating them through the animation. So brilliant, thank you for sharing that. And finally, I'd like to share your jumping stag or deer animation, which again is just a lovely, beautifully well done, let me close that, beautifully well done animation, just to show the sort of thing that can be made with OpenToonz Autohoma, which is what I like to highlight on this channel, to show what can be achieved with the program. And I love the little splash in the water here. That looks fantastic. The movement of the stag or the deer is great. The background is perfectly plain to bring the highlight to the foreground. So thanks again for sharing that. That's really good. I'm really pleased to share that. So if I didn't get to share your image or animation, sorry about that, but again, I'll try and share as many as I can when I can, so do keep sharing what you've made. I love seeing it. But that's basically everything that's happened last week. What happened last week? And I'm back here again. So thanks everyone for sharing all of your stuff here on the Discord channel. It's great to have it. And speaking of Discord, I'd like to take a quick look at the Discord server and some of the changes I've made recently. So let me just get that together. Okay, fantastic. So let me bring that over here. In fact, let me put myself out of the way. There we go. Now you can see more of the screen there. Okay, so I wanted to take a quick look at the Discord server because the number of users has increased recently. We've reached over 300 users, which is fantastic. But I know there's been quite a few new people joined us on the YouTube channel, so I wanted to welcome you all and to invite you to join me on the Discord server, where you can share your art and animation, just have a place to share with the world, or to ask for critique or comments on your drawings, or to get help with using OpenToonz, Autohoma, or even some other drawing and animation softwares. So I wanted to take you through what the Discord server has and what's available. So obviously we've got a welcome page introducing you to the Discord, pointing out some of the channels that's available and what's on there, so take a look at that. A very small list of rules. Basic rule is be nice, be supportive. That's what we're here for, to help each other. But just because people insist on asking what the rules are and pushing the boundaries, we have listed a couple of rules in there. Then we've got some ways you can help and support the channel. An announcements page where I share links to any information that I think you'll find useful, to tutorials, to recent videos and other announcements useful for the channel. Then you've got a place to introduce yourself, to let us know who you are and what you're interested in, and a chance to get to meet other users in the server. Because lots of people say they're new to Discord when they join us, I've added this Discord tips page for people to see a few things they can do for using Discord, and I need to add some more into there, but do check that out if you're new to Discord. And then I've broken up the other channels into 5 groups here to help group things together to make it easier to get to the channel that you need and to find the information that you need. So first we've got the help section, and in here we've got a list of downloads and links, so where you can download OpenToonz and all of its variants, useful links for OpenToonz and Autohoma for logging feature requests or bug reports, for instance. And then I've got other YouTube and Twitch animators that use OpenToonz and Autohoma. So we've got Jer Henning that primarily uses vectors. So if you're interested in vector animation or vector drawing, he's got a great Twitch channel worth following. Dave at Blender Planet animates mainly in Krita these days, but also uses OpenToonz or Autohoma, and is currently creating a cartoon of his own, and he's presenting that live on his channel in live streams almost daily, so that's very much worth a look at. And then we've got our very own Calogero, who produces tutorials in French. So if you're a French user or don't mind just watching the visuals, they're great tutorials to take a look at. And then recently to the channel we've got Falvio, who produces tutorials in Spanish. So again, take a look at those, you might find them useful. And a couple of related Discord servers. And then we've got some tips, some essential tips for using OpenToonz and Autohoma. So if you're new to OpenToonz, or even if you've been using it for a while, it's worth taking a look at these tips because they might make using OpenToonz and Tahoma much easier and save you some time. Then we've got an FAQ with lots of often asked questions with answers of how to fix them. So if you've got a problem with OpenToonz, take a look in here first. You might find the answer there. Then I've got a list of playlists for tutorials and useful information that you might find for OpenToonz and Tahoma. So perhaps take a look at that. Then there's a help chat for people who are interested in building and contributing to the code base of OpenToonz. So I've got some useful links to help you get started with it. We've got a chat room for you to talk about the development, if you've got any questions about development, how to get started or how it works. And I've got a channel which has moved from a different section for those of you that have been to the Discord before, that is for your OpenToonz questions. So if you've got any questions about OpenToonz, queries about how it uses, or if you think you've got a bug, then ask the question in there. And then we've got the OpenToonz community, and this is for chatting and sharing about OpenToonz and Tahoma. So we've got the general OpenToonz chat window, just to chat about anything, talk about what you're working on, or to discuss anything to do with OpenToonz that you've come across, interesting features, tips for other users. So that's worth taking a look at. Then a channel for sharing your art with other users, and this can be just for sharing your art with the world, to make it public, or to ask for comments and critique. Then a channel for sharing your animations made with OpenToonz, so people can see what can be made with OpenToonz, which is great for demonstrating some of the special effects or special features in OpenToonz, or even for just traditional 2D animations. And then we've got a channel specifically for Tahoma 2D animations, again to show what can be achieved with Tahoma 2D. Then we've got a collaborations channel, so if you've got any collaborations, you want to work with other users, share the information in there for other people to get in touch with you. And then we've got a folder to ask questions for the live stream. So if you've got any queries you want answered live on the live stream, then pop them into there. Finally, at the bottom, we've got Darren TV live, and this is where I sometimes go on to share information, and I share my screen so you can see what's happening in OpenToonz and Tahoma, or to help answer a question, it's sometimes easier to show my screen so you can take a look at what you actually need to do. But if you're in the Discord server and nobody's currently using the room, feel free to pop in yourself to share what you're working on in OpenToonz and Tahoma, and to let other people join in the conversation and chat with you. Remember, this is the OpenToonz community, so it's for all of us to work with. Next, we've got a group for other software in chat. So I understand that not everybody uses those two softwares, so we've got this other section for other software conversations. So a general chat window just for you to chat about what's on your mind, anything you like, pop into there. If you want to talk about gaming, then you've got a gaming channel. And then we've got specific software channels for Adobe Animate, formerly Flash, for Android software, for Blender software, Flipperclip, Critter, and Toon Boom. And if you want to share your art, either made with those softwares or even drawn on pen and paper, that's the folder to do it in. Likewise, for any animations that you want to share of your own, that's the place to share them. And then we've got a general voice chat if you want to just chat about anything under the sun, whether it be about animation, art, or whatever's on your mind. And again, in the general voice chat, you can also share your screen if you want to share what you're working on, whether it be drawing in software or drawing pen and paper. Next, we've got the animation challenge section. And if you're interested in animation challenging, then take a look in the FAQ first, which explains how it all works. Have a look at the help and examples, which will give you a few tips of how to put these animations together. And then start working through the animations one at a time, starting with the simple bouncing ball exercise. And before you start working on it, click on the pinned messages, and the same for any other channel, and take a look at the instructions for that challenge. You'll also find a video where I demonstrate how to work on the challenge, and then the output of me from my work on the challenge. And for any of these, you can hit the jump button, which takes the conversation to that section in the Discord, so you can read through them all at your own pace. And when you're ready, jump down to the present to go back to the latest message. So you work on each challenge, and then when you've completed it, you'll upload the GIF animation to the channel. Sometimes I also ask for a screenshot of your onion skins, so I can see the animation laid out all in one, but again, details are in the FAQ. And once I've taken a look, and if you've achieved everything requested, then I'll assign you a new role, which gives you a new animator role, which shows up in the Discord server, and then you can progress through the 10 animator roles. So I'd love you to come and join on that. So if you haven't already, pop in there and have a go at these challenges. And the idea is to create challenges that anyone can work on. So they're not involving complicated characters, they're mostly involving a bouncing ball, because everyone can draw a circle. However, not everyone can draw a great circle. That doesn't matter. As wobbly as you like, everyone can draw a rough circle animating, but it's to work on the principles of animation, of spacing and timing, but also to help work on how to use certain features of OpenToonz and Futurama. And each of the challenges takes you through all of those features for you to learn them as you go through. So by the time you get to challenge number 10, you'll be very comfortable using the program. Finally, I've got a section for the Udemy OpenToonz course. And this is a course I've developed that's now on Udemy to teach you all about using OpenToonz from absolutely the beginning of downloading it, installing it, working your way around the interface, through to learning enough features to animate traditionally in 2D. And hopefully coming soon, we'll have some videos for using Tahoma 2D as well. So this has got details about the course. It's got a link to the course, and if you follow this link, you'll get the best price, and it also helps the channel out. And then once you've affiliated yourself with the course, drop me a message. I'll give you a new role on the server, and you'll get these other animation Discord channels to share your work. So come along and join me for the Discord. I'd love to see you over there. And I'm there most days, but there are plenty of supportive and helpful folks there as well. And you'll find the link to this down in the description. So hopefully I'll see you there soon. So if anyone's got any questions about the Discord, do drop them in the chat. And let me just take a quick look at the chat. I've missed quite a lot. So one of the reasons I wanted to talk about the Discord server is because, as I say, there have been quite a few new people joined, so I wanted to run through it. I've made some changes to the locations of some channels. So I've moved let me bring this back over. I've moved the questions, your OpenToonz questions channel, into the help section, because that's really where it should be, because you ought to be checking on the FAQ first and the essentials list before you ask your question, because they cover 90% of the questions people ask when they first start using the program. So that's in there. But I also wanted to chat about the Discord, because what I intended to do is to cut out that part of the stream and post it separately so people can see what's on the Discord, and also so they can know about this stream. So again, let me just check on the chat and see what we've missed. Thank you, Maria. Yes, the Discord people using on there it's just exploded. It's been amazing. We started, I don't know how long ago it was now. I don't know if anybody else remembers. It would be 6 months ago maybe, when I first created the Discord server. I think it probably was. And it was a way just to get a forum for people to come together, because I've got the YouTube channel and people were asking lots of similar questions on there. So I wanted to be able to have the answers in one location and have a place for people to chat. And I did think about having just a website somewhere, and I could have an FAQ, but then building in a chat room or something else just seemed crazy when I already knew about Discord, and it felt like the right thing to do. So I thought I'd put the Discord together and see if it helped people, and see if people would join in. And I was hoping to maybe get 30, 40 people, would have been great, 50 maybe. And then when it reached 100, that was just amazing. And then again, the other day I checked and it was over 300. And I know a lot of people join different Discord servers and then don't come back in. They join, don't contribute regularly. That's fine. Come back whenever you're ready. But for people that do, it's great to see the regular names popping up, and it's fantastic to see your art and animations being shared, your tips for other users, because I want this to be your community where you can help people animate, to draw, to use the software, and just to achieve what they want to achieve. So thanks to everyone that helps out there. I'm going back a few minutes, so I don't know if you've already got the answer, Kalo. Is it possible to chat with audio voice on the Discord? Yes, it is. Again, there's two ways. In the OpenToonz community, we've got the Darren TV, which is exactly the same as the general voice chat. They're both the same kind of area where you can click in there and then chat just verbally, or you can share your webcam if you want to be on camera while you speak, and multiple users can all share cameras, or you can share your desktop or programs. So as I say, sometimes I've been asked a question and it's easier to demonstrate rather than trying to type the answer. So I'll pop into the Darren TV live room and then share my view of OpenToonz and demonstrate what we need. So, but as I say, feel free to pop in yourself and chat with other users, or to share your screens. Jorge, thank you. Welcome to the stream. Great to have you here. I hope the people understand. I think people do understand what the Discord is for. I know I've had lots of great comments from people that have used it, and it's a great way to share information and just to find a community of users that are like-minded and want to produce drawings and animations. And we're all at different abilities, and it's great to see everyone just working together and sharing the knowledge. So thank you all for joining me. Flavio, so what do I think about the render of Tahoma? You've noticed more stability. To be honest, I think lots of things about Tahoma are more stable. One of the reasons is because the original OpenToonz, if you go to the website for downloading it, is almost a year old. So in the past year, there's been lots of bug fixes made that haven't made it into the version on the OpenToonz website. And again, while the Discord's on screen, if we go to the help section, to the downloads and links, and then at the very top, we've got the downloads for the different versions of OpenToonz. So here, we've got the original OpenToonz download, and that was released in January or February of 2020. But if you want a more recent version, including the bug fixes that have gone into OpenToonz in the past year, you can download the latest from the nightly releases. So if you like OpenToonz but you want a more stable version, the nightly releases are the ones to download. So that's why the original OpenToonz isn't as stable as Tahoma, because Tahoma has pulled over all of those bug fixes into itself, into the program, and that is being released more often. Hopefully we'll have a new release of that in early February, fingers crossed, if Manang John has time to do so. So that's got Tahoma has all these extra bug fixes put in there, and I suspect some of the extra features that have been put in as well will add to the stability. So I think that has increased the general overall stability of Tahoma. Yes, we can share the desktop. Absolutely. It's honestly, pop into the Darren TV live or into the general chat if you want to show somebody something, or if you're having a conversation with somebody on Discord and they're asking about software, whether it be OpenToonz or other. Feel free to jump in, share your desktop, and then demonstrate what you need to demonstrate. At the beginning of July, was it, Amar? The Discord was started. That's really good. It's amazing. I'm so pleased it's taken off the way it has, and I'm really pleased that the way you've all joined in and fell correctly into the spirit that I was after at the beginning. So thank you. Yes, please do. Please do, Calo and Maria. I mean, it's something, to be honest, that I've not really done enough of, and I should do more. So when people have asked questions or just chatting, sometimes it would be easy just to bring up Tahoma or OpenToonz, jump in, share the screen, and then have a chat. And it's easier for me to demonstrate what's on the desktop, and also easier for you to ask questions about what's on there in real time, rather than slowly typing through the question, and by the time you've got to the end, people have moved on. It was Maria. It was last week. It was great to hear your voice. Great to speak to you at last. Yeah, that was because it was Soda Pop that wanted to demonstrate, again, exactly what it was there for. He wanted to demonstrate a technique he'd been using for animating with vectors to do a walk cycle. So he popped on there to show me the walk cycle and to explain exactly what he did. And he used 3 or 4 perhaps different techniques, including the connections in the schematic that would just be impossible to explain in words. So we did that. Then you saw us on there and popped on. Amar joined us as well and joined in the conversation. And that's exactly what it's there for. And it's something I should do more often, and I think I'll try to. But you don't need my permission. Feel free yourselves to jump in if you want to chat to other people. Even if you've got nothing to demonstrate, just click into the room at any time and just start a conversation, leave it open, and if other people see you in there, they might come and join you. So I think it's time to move on to the next topic. And that's a silly little animation. I just enjoy it. I don't know why. I don't need to bother with all these little additional animations and messing about on screen, but it's a bit of fun, isn't it? So next I'd like to talk about my plans for 2021 and what I want to do, what I want to achieve, and how I'm going to do it. So let me just get rid of some of these windows for a minute. Let me just set this up. In fact, before I do, I've just noticed I've also got in a separate window, which I forgot to bring on screen, I've got a link, I believe, down in the description, and if I've not, I'll check at the end of the stream and make sure it's there. But somebody sent me a message on, I believe it was on YouTube, and said they'd made an animation in OpenToonz. So I took a look at it, and it's really, really good. Heaven of Horror. So we've made this animation, and it's a kind of like a story time horror animation, and I'd recommend you take a listen to it. And if you're interested in this kind of thing, I've got the resolution quite low here, that's fine. If you're interested in this kind of animation, then do subscribe and watch his further ones. They've created a second horror animation. I won't play it for you now and spoil it, but it's a horror story animated in OpenToonz, really nicely done. Quite simple animation and graphics, I'm sure they won't mind me saying, but it tells a story perfectly. And again, it just shows what you can make in OpenToonz with a little bit of time and some imagination. So do take a look at that. So I wanted to take a look at my plans for 2021, and I've got Tahoma here. I've got some notes on my other screen I'm just bringing up there. Here we go. Okay, so I've changed the layout of my Tahoma, which I hope those of you using OpenToonz and Tahoma realise that you can do. You can move the panels around. So I've moved the colour panel, which was at the top left here, over to the top right to sit behind the chat window, because I used to keep drawing on the streams in the drawing area, but that was behind the chat window and it got lost. You couldn't see what I was doing and I kept forgetting week after week. So I thought what I'd do is I'd move the colour palette behind there to hide it a little bit and to give the screen estate over to the drawing area. So again, at the top right here in Tahoma, there's a padlock button. If you press that to unlock it, you'll notice all the panels get a header bar, and you can then click and drag those to move them around the screen. And I won't do that right now because it's set up as I want it. So I'll click the padlock button again. I'll just move my tea out of the way. Okay, so for 2021, I was thinking last year as I was putting together the 2020 video at the end of December to share all of my drawings and animations, I'd not really got a lot in there to show for a whole year of working in OpenToonz and Tahoma. And I really should have had more, and I'd planned at the start of the year to have more, but I didn't find time for two very good reasons. Put that up there. Sorry, I'm just moving my windows around so I can see clearly. Okay, so for two very good reasons. One was start of the year we had the lockdown here in England for the pandemic, which I've so far refused to talk about all year. We all know about it. We don't need it on this channel. That's not what I'm here for. But we had the lockdown and I was also off work at the time, and I'd planned to stay off for a little while and take a break. But with the pandemic and have not been able to get out and about much, I decided to finally put my effort into my Udemy course. And it's something I'd wanted to do for at least a year. And I'd already been putting together plans for what would be in a good course for OpenToonz. And the reason I wanted to do a course was because on the YouTube channel I'd shared lots of videos, but they were quite sporadic in what it explained. So I got videos on animating the camera in OpenToonz, on how to work on the X sheet, how to combine nodes together and columns together in the schematic, to do cutout animation, how to do some of the effects, various techniques and features of the program, but they were quite sporadic, quite scattergun. So I wanted to have a way and a means and way to explain how to use OpenToonz from the very beginning for the very basic first time user, because there's some features of the program that you need to understand to get the most out of it, some basic concepts. So I built the Udemy course and I started that back in March or April. That took me literally a couple, 3 months to complete. I can't remember when I released it. But that must have been 3 months later, maybe even 4 months later, because there's over 100 lessons, there's 10 hours of video, there's worksheets, there's downloads, and there's quite a lot in there. And this isn't intended as a sales pitch for it, but it just took up a lot of my time. And all the while I was still producing videos every Friday. And then by the time that was complete, I then promoted it and spent time advertising it, sharing lessons from it. And that took me through to maybe September or so. And by then, Tahoma 2D was released. And I knew that was coming for a few months. Speaking with Jeremy, he was planning to release it sooner than it was released. Thankfully, it got delayed so I could produce videos for it at the right time. So by the time the course was complete, I was then producing videos for Tahoma to demonstrate again some of its features, some of the benefits over OpenToonz and that kind of thing. And before I knew it, it was the end of the year. So I didn't get to complete as much animation and drawing that I wanted to. Especially, I started on a project for a Futurama project, which we'll take a quick look at in a few minutes. But I was hoping to complete more on that, but that is now inside part of my plan for this year. You're welcome, Alan. I hope that was helpful. Let's take a look at the Discord server. Are you currently a member on the Discord, Alan, or are you just a YouTube follower? Because if you're not, you'd be very welcome to come over and join us. So I wanted to sort of detail, for me as well as just for a chat with you, what my time's going to be put into. And it's not a full schedule, but I just want to kind of get it out of my head and on paper to see what I'm working on. So let me look, I've got my notes up here. So really my time is split between outside of work, which I'm now working full time. Outside of work, my time is split between 4 main areas. So if I take a look at this, so I've added, just as a bit of an aside, some additional areas to the safe area section, and I made a video about this a while back, but you can see that video and download these extra safe areas on my Gumroad site, and you can download those for free. It doesn't cost anything. So if you take a look down in the description, you'll see a link to my Gumroad, and in there you'll see a product called Safe Areas. You don't have to pay a penny, you can just download it and then add these safe areas to your OpenToonz or Tahoma. And what this allows me to do is to have different laid out grids, to have lines on screen to help me guide what I'm doing. And the only reason I want that today is I want a 2x2 grid, just so I can draw a plus in the center of the screen. Thank you, Alan, that's great, lovely. Please do join in the chat, share any of your drawings or animations. Absolutely, come along and have a chat. So I'll add a smart raster level, or for OpenToonz users, a Toonz raster level. Hit save. Okay, so then let's get this right. In the first color, let's add a straight line here, and I'm holding the control key to get an exact straight line, and then I can turn off that grid. And then what I'd like to do is I'll add a new drawing, and it's something I've tried to start getting into the habit of, and that's working on what you'd normally think of as layers in other drawing software or other animation software. And that's by creating another drawing in the same level, which you can do, I think you can right click, create blank drawing, or press Alt D. So I've got another drawing in the same level, and I can move that into another column, and now I can draw on drawing number 2, and it'll sit in front of drawing number 1, and that makes it easier for using the selection tool to select only items on this drawing, so the lines are now fixed and secure and I can't delete them. So in fact I can padlock column 1. Okay, so I'll add a new color for this, and we can change this later because it's a smart raster level. Let's see how this pen is. Let's zoom in so I can see just the quarters. Hello there, Joseph. Well, I'm glad you've made it anyway. And the stream is being recorded, so it'll be available on YouTube later, so you can take a look at that and catch up to where you are today. So we're just taking a look at my thoughts and plans for 2021 at the minute, and I've just started on this. So I've got 4 topic areas really to work on, and I don't know how smoothly this will draw. Sometimes it doesn't draw great when I've got the whole stream running, so let's see. So the first thing are the YouTube videos. Oops, is this? Yeah. make this a bit smaller. This is really lagging, unfortunately, which is bound to do because I'm live. So I just have to write a little bit slower and it'll look a little bit like a child wrote it. So these I try and produce and get out every Friday. Oops, I can't write and talk at the same time. So I make these every Friday if I can. But what I've done for 2021, a sort of resolution I've made for myself, is I'm giving myself permission to miss a Friday. So if I'm busy with other things or I haven't got time, I don't want to feel the need to rush a video out or to make myself ill trying to produce a video. That doesn't help anybody. So I'm planning purposely to miss a few Fridays to give me time to work on the other projects we'll take a look at today. So actually, just thinking about this in the chat, you're talking about power cuts. I noticed that there's been a few power cuts and blackouts around the world, which is a bit peculiar. Was it in India, did I hear, or Pakistan? Around that way, apologies, I don't know which one it was. It's around that area, I believe. And then the Vatican, I believe, today had a power cut of some problems. Yeah. It can slow down, Federico, when you draw the different brushes. I mean, for me today, it'll slow down because I've got so many windows open. In fact, I can close some of these that I showed and demonstrated things earlier. So let me close some of these windows. I'll keep that one open, and I can close that, and I can close that. There we go. Hopefully that'll help a little bit for me. Yes, it can slow down a little bit when you use different brushes. There's different things you can do to make it not do so. One of the simple things is if you're using vector levels, in the view menu you can visualize vector as raster, and if you tick that box, it means that it'll create in its memory a raster image of what you're drawing, so that when you zoom in it looks pixelated, but it really is vectors behind the scenes. Whereas if you keep vectors on all the time, it redraws it as you zoom in or move around, because vectors need to be drawn looking smoothly. So that uses a lot more of the memory. So if you change visualize vector as raster and tick that, then vectors will draw and run smoother. So there's a few things you can do. Closing other applications. There's a very simple thing of restarting OpenToonz Auto Homer can help. Splitting your scenes into smaller portions, so try not to animate as much if you can help it, and then you can stitch together the outputs in a single video later. So yeah, there's quite a few things you can do, but sometimes you've just got to accept that it can take up a lot of your computer's processing power. But as I say, try and do the things you can. Some of these tips are already on the Discord server in the FAQ section, so you'll find some of those in there. So the second thing I've got in my groups is the YouTube streaming that I've started doing. So again, let me write this slowly. And this is something I started towards the end of last year that I really enjoyed. I think it's been useful to be able to demonstrate things live and have questions come back to me. I think those of you that have joined me have found it useful and interesting as well. I hope so anyway. So again, I'd like to continue with this, and this is every Sunday. So let me just pop this up here. And Sunday works really well for me. I know it doesn't work greatly for everybody. But hopefully as many of you as possible can join me for those. And if you can't, then you can hopefully watch on the catch up over on YouTube. and this is going really, really slowly. Okay, then the third area that takes up a lot of my time that I want to continue doing is help and support. Oops. Smoothing is down. I'm not sure why it's really going slow today, but again, it's one of those things. Ideally, if I wasn't streaming, I'd probably restart my computer and then close down. I've got like 8 Google Chrome windows open, so just close those down. That would help a lot. Yes, the time, because the time differences around the world, and we've got lots of users from different countries, which is fantastic, is that trying to find a good time for everybody just doesn't work. It unfortunately really doesn't work. So all I can possibly do is to perhaps have streams at different times. As I say, I'm hoping to have the occasional stream perhaps after work in the evening, UK time, and that might help a few more people to join in when you can. But whenever you can join, it's great to have you with us. Joseph is asking about importing PNG images in the animation. It creates new layers. Absolutely right, it does. Okay, I see what you're saying. You're talking about using the mouth in Papagayo. Yes, we can do that. No problem, Joseph. That's something we can do. So, two sides of this really. The first one is when you drag in a new image, PNG image, it does create a new layer, or as you call it, but it's actually a column in OpenToonz parlance. But you can move that image into another column if you want to, and that you can move images around as much as you like, in the same way as I moved this drawing number 2, which is part of the A level. I moved it into a separate column. So for backgrounds and other images, you can move them around as necessary and split them up. But what you're asking about is to use the drawings as a mouth shape that you can use with Papagayo for lip sync. And I've got a playlist for lip sync. Let me quickly show you this over on the Discord server. So if you haven't seen it already, okay, so let's look at the Discord server. So in the OpenToonz help section, downloads and links. No, my mistake, sorry. Video playlists in the help section. You'll see a lip sync techniques playlist. If you take a look at that, I've got 5 or so videos talking about how to do lip sync and some techniques for doing so. In there, I don't explicitly import images I've drawn in another program, and that I actually think would be a very good video for me to add in there, because it's a small change you need to do, a small tweak, but it is possible. Let me tell you what you need to do. If you've got, say, 10 drawings for your 10 mouth shapes, instead of naming them after the mouth shape, so it might be obvious to name them A.png, O.png, F.png, etc. Instead of naming them like that, you want to name them in a very special way. And if I do a quick render from Tahoma, that'll tell us how you want to name them. And let me show you what that means. So if I change that to PNG, I'm rendering just frame 1. I'll call it plan. I'll hit save and render. Done. And this is a very quick way to avoid having to remember how to name PNG files for importing in this way. So let me go to the project folder. Okay, let me bring that in. So here's the output it's just created. So it's called plan as I requested for the name. It's a PNG, and because it's frame 1, it's put .000one.png. And if I exported or rendered 2 frames, frames 1 and 2, the second frame, would be plan.002.png. You'll have to excuse me a second, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So if you had 2 frames exported, rendered, you'd have plan 0001 PNG and plan.002 PNG. And that's basically the format you want for the images that are used for lip sync. So if you named your mouth shapes mouth.001 PNG, then mouth.002.png, and so on for the 10 shapes, now if you drag in drawing number 1 of the mouth to Tahoma, it'll also import the other 9 drawings. Whereas if they were named independently, then it wouldn't recognise they were part of the same level. Even though they might be in the same column, it's the level that's important and the level that you assign to mouth shapes. So when you go to it's been a while since I've imported. Import OpenToonz lip sync file. No. Apply lip sync data to this column. That's the one. So in here, it picks the 10 drawings from the level A. It's not about the column. So you've got to have 10 drawings in level A. So to do that, you name them with this naming technique. Does that make some sense, Joseph? But I think you're right. I think talking about this would be a really useful video to make, because I've seen this question a few times because it doesn't seem obvious. Because you put the 10 drawings in one column, you try to apply the lip sync, and it doesn't work. It only recognises one drawing as being part of the sequence. And if you use the level strip, that'll show you if the drawings are part of the same sequence. So where I select drawing number 2, in my level strip, which is on the right hand side of the screen so you can't see at the minute. So if I open up another one here, you'll see there's 2 drawings. So you need to have 10 drawings in the same level. So hopefully that explains it a little bit for you. But as I say, it's something I think I'd like to make another video for, because I think that'd be quite useful. Yes, please give it a go. Let me know how you get on. Drop me a message. Again, if you're on the Discord server, jump on over to it and let us all know how it works for you. But that's the basic gist. It's the naming of the files for the PNGs for importing that's the important part. Okay, so the fourth area yes, Amar, that's right. Tedious is exactly the word, because you're going frame by frame. But Papagayo really makes it simpler to get that base started of where the lip sync goes. Oh, excellent, Maria. So you'll be using some lip sync techniques too. Great. It's a lot of fun adding lip sync because suddenly when your character's mouths move and you get it working right to move in time, it just feels so much better. It feels animated. So it's great to do. And Amar's working on this month's 11-second club. Great. Again, Amar, as I've said to other people, and as Calo did last month, feel free to share your progress if you want to over on the Discord. In whatever stages you like, an image at a time or a small video, it's entirely up to you. I think a lot of people get inspiration seeing other people working on projects like this. And as I said to everybody a couple of weeks ago when I was last here, that if you want to work on a project and you don't know what to work on, and projects sometimes feel a bit too large and too difficult to complete, the 11-second club is a great place to start. And for those that don't know, that's a website. If you do a Google search for 11-second club, and every month they have an animation competition. They share a short audio clip for you to animate against. And 11 seconds is so short, it feels comfortable when you listen to the audio. It's so short, you feel you can achieve it. When you start animating, you realize 11 seconds is 300 frames of animation, and it's kind of quite a bit to do, but it's manageable. So it's a great way to get into animation. Great, that'd be great to see, Amar. Love to see it. Absolutely. Kayla, are you still here? Are you working on the 11-second club this month? Because it'd be interesting to see the comparison of the two styles, but both working for the same audio clip. And is anybody else having a go this month? It is something that I've said myself a few times I'd love to have a go and make some time for. But again, that's exactly what this plan is about. So let me add in the fourth title after help and support is a section for me. I can't leave that E like that. Let's go slowly. And the final section that I want to consider, that I've not had time to consider in the past, is personal learning. So there's my 4 sections I want to consider. So I'd like to quickly list under each of them what I want to do for each of them, and then we'll have a quick chat, and then I'll open up to questions for you for the end of the stream. So again, I'll add another blank drawing. I'll insert a column and we'll move drawing number 3 to the top. I'll hit save so nothing can be lost. So now on drawing number 3, if I lock drawing 2, on drawing 3 I'll add my notes underneath, again in a different colour for the no reason apart from I can. And then we can and then by doing that on a separate drawing, I can't accidentally delete anything that's there in other drawings in other columns. I wish I did, Alan. The day really isn't long enough. It really isn't. But without having a bit of a plan, a bit of a thought of what you want to do, you'll never achieve it. So I'd like to at least consider what I want to work on, and then we'll reconsider later when I realise I've not got time. But rather than trying to rush through making sure I've got videos done and working on support and this and that, I'd rather have a think about it now and see what time we've got. So let's give it a colour. We can change the colours later. So for the YouTube videos, what are they? Let me zoom in and make this the screen. Great. Okay. So for the videos, for those of you that are new, I make tutorial videos. Showing how to use OpenToonz and Tahoma and the occasional other software that works alongside. We've already mentioned Papagayo and we've mentioned Critter. I've made videos on those. I've also showed a reference program, I can't remember its name offhand now, that was really useful. So I'll continue to make those as and when I can. I also have made, in a similar vein, tips videos. And I think I might focus a little bit more this year on the tips. So to help me achieve everything else on the plan, tutorial videos are often 10, 15 minutes long, occasionally 20 minutes long, and preparing a tutorial video, recording it, editing it can take a good number of evenings after work, and it takes up a lot of time. I enjoy doing it. I think it's really fun to do, and I know you find it really helpful, but tips videos will be much shorter and will just give me more time to work on other things. Also, I've been sharing, but not for a while, news videos, long overdue for the next one. And the next couple, I know what they're going to be. I believe I know what they're going to be. And I can tell you now, the next one is likely to be the release of the next version of OpenToonz, version 1.5. Possibly in February sometime is the schedule. We'll see how it goes. And that is basically OpenToonz plus lots of bug fixes and some features implemented. So I'll be covering some of those and sharing those with you. But it's basically what you get from the nightly build. So if you want the latest OpenToonz, you download the nightly build and install that, and that's basically what 1.5 is going to be. So yeah, that's what I've currently got scheduled for my YouTube videos. And as I say, I'm doing these every Friday, so I might decide to miss some and purposely miss some just so I've got time for other things, but we'll see how that goes. So I will try and keep going with them. I've got a list not even as long as my arm, but longer than my arm, of videos I want to talk about things in OpenToonz. There's so many features I've not discussed, so many questions I see coming up on the Discord and on chats like this today that I want to share with everybody else and to get out there. So I've got plenty to do. It's just finding time and getting them out in the right order. So for these streams, let's have a quick look. So yeah, in my notes I've talked about what have I done on these streams, and I've done maybe what 8 or 10 different streams, and we've covered lots of different topics. So I've done demonstrations and tutorials, I've done tips, I've done a little bit of drawing and animation, we've had a chat. Every week we look at what's happened on the Discord server, sharing your animations and drawings. So we've been packed with lots of things. And after having the break and thinking about the next year, what I'd like these streams to aim for is to be more based around animation and drawing. Hi there, Dirt. Poop to you as well. So more drawing and animation, but that really only depends if I can get OpenToonz and Tahoma working smoother than it is today. Because if it's going at this pace, I think I'd be struggling to get smooth drawings done, or I just have to work really slowly. So I'd like to focus a little less on the streams for tutorials, although I will still be sharing lots of tips about how to use OpenToonz and Tahoma, and about my thinking behind what I want to do, how I'm going to use the software to achieve the outcome I want to achieve. And for the streaming, for drawing and animation, I've actually got 3 items already in mind that I'd like to work on next, beginning next Sunday. So the first project I'd like to work on is a collaboration that I signed up for many months ago, and it's something that Mrs. T keeps asking about when I keep saying I'm going to take a look at it sometime, because it's gone on so long that I really need to get started. So this is going to be my very first challenge to start doing from next Sunday. And there's a collaboration of a reanimated cartoon, and it's to reanimate a Bugs Bunny cartoon called Nighty Night Bugs, I believe. And I applied for a part, and I've already got my scene for this. So let me just note this down. And it's kind of one of the well-known cartoons for Bugs Bunny. And the reason I signed up for this collab was I was originally trying to get into the Nightmare Before Christmas collaboration that was being done, but I was just too late to get a part. And when I looked into it, they were starting the next one, which is this Bugs Bunny Nighty Night collaboration. And it's something that hasn't been pushed too much or promoted too much. So I'll be talking about that a little more next week. And then maybe you might want to join in and request a part. It'd be great if you could. And it'd be great to see your progress on the Discord server as well. But let me show you the part I've got and I'll be animating. And it's a very simple animation. Hi there, Enyo-san. Glad you could make it. Yeah, of course I'll do a quick recap. No problem at all. Yes, the video is will be on YouTube later, and when I finish the stream, I'll jump straight in as I always do, and I'll add timestamps in the description so you can jump to the section that you're interested in. So what have we done today? Not a lot. In reality, been doing a lot of chatting. So I had a quick look over what's happened in the Discord over the past couple of weeks since the last stream, shared some drawings and animations. I've highlighted a couple of guys on the server that are doing tutorials for OpenToonz in French and Spanish, so that's really great to get out there for our French and Spanish speaking users. I've talked about, what did we do before that? Oh, and then I went through the Discord server. So I've made a few changes to the Discord server, but for new guys I've kind of run through all of the channels in there and what they're for. So I took some time looking at that. And then finally I've been chatting about my plan for 2021. So after putting together my rewind video of my favourite drawings and animations from last year, I kind of realised I'd not really made that many. So I kind of want to focus this year on producing more drawings and animations. So I'm kind of putting together my plan of what I'm going to work on. And the Sunday streams are kind of part of that plan, a big part of that plan. That if I can get the software running quickly enough, if the streaming software doesn't hold me up and slow me down too much, I want to do some drawing and animation here with you on a Sunday. And also answering any questions you've got, showing videos of animations and images that you've drawn on the Discord, and all the usual stuff in chat, but mainly focusing in on the animation for me to work on at my side. So that's kind of where we are. Yeah, kind of, Maria, similar to how Dave is. As I say, I will be still doing the same sort of little treats for me, bit of fun for me for the streams of sharing things that are interesting, as I say, things off the Discord server. I will be highlighting the odd new feature, sharing news as well, but then the main chunk of the stream I want to be ideally drawing or animating. And again, if the software can keep up and if my laptop can keep going at a good pace, I'll do so. If not, I may well do it offline, record it as live possibly and upload, or just ensure that I'm working more on animating outside of the time. Okay, so I've just mentioned that I'm the first animation I'd like to work on starting next Sunday is a collaboration for a Bugs Bunny cartoon called Nighty Night. So here's my scene that I need to reanimate and rework. So let me make sure that my desktop audio is on so you can hear it. Okay, so it's a very simple scene, which I'm really pleased that it is. It's a great way for me to get in to a simple collaboration. So it's basically involving a scrolling background, which seems to be repeating. We'll take a look at that in more detail next time. The dragon character, which is a very simple dragon character running, with a little bit of a run cycle, who then stops. And then Yosemite Sam just sliding off the side of the dragon. That's it. So it's a really simple animation to put together, I believe. It's in a simple style, but as with all reanimation projects, you can redraw them in any style you like. I've not decided quite what I want to do with this yet. I think I'm going to try and stick to the original as much as I can. I'm not going to trace what's here. I need to kind of look at the timing of what's in this animation because we're keeping the same audio, literally the same audio. That's great, Maria. Me too. It really is a classic. It is. That's why I jumped on the chance to animate a section. And it's, how long? 6 seconds. So that shouldn't take up too much time, should it, to do? But hopefully it'll be a bit of fun. So we'll be looking at scrolling backgrounds, a run cycle here, possibly using the plastic tool. I'm not sure if I will, if I'll do frame by frame. The first plan is to review how it was done originally and take a look at that. And then a little bit of frame by frame animation for Yosemite falling off, a little bit of an effect there. I quite like that. I'll do something similar. And then hopefully with your help we'll decide if I want to add anything else on top, whether it be effects or shadows or whatever. We'll take a look at that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to starting that. I've been looking forward to starting that for many months, so I can't wait to get into that. Deadline. There isn't a deadline yet. He set it up with no deadline set because he wasn't sure how quickly he'd get the parts handed out. I don't know how many are handed out. I've got number 32, scene 32. So whether they're being handed out in order or if he's broken it up into the 6 second pieces and is handing it out for give me a simpler part of the animation because he doesn't know me or how good my animating skills are. So maybe he's done that. I don't know what the plan is and how he's arranged it. But broken up in 6 seconds, the original cartoon it's a number of minutes, so there's quite a few parts. There's still more parts available. He tweeted out a couple of weeks ago, so I'm happy to share details of that. Yes, it's a collab for everyone to participate in. If I go back to where the video is, here's the guidelines. Let me just bring this onto the screen. Make that larger, make sure you can see it. So here we go. So there's 63 spots to fill. I don't know how many are filled just yet. All you need to do is email to this address. So that's channelreanimated@gmail.com. So if you're interested, drop an email, ask for Ray Harrell. You can see the details there, and say you'd like to take part. Possibly include a link to any animations you've done to let them know you can animate, and then see if you can be handed a part. Hopefully you can. Once I've started on this, I'll be sharing details on the Discord, Twitter, Facebook, all the usual places. But if any of you are looking for an animation to do, if you're looking for an animation to do, this could be a great thing to get into. Similar to the 11-second club, it's a time restricted piece of animation that if you've got a bit of spare time, anyone can get into to do. But I know lots of us have got our own projects, so if you can, great. If not, no problem. Okay, Maria, thank you for letting me know. Be good to have you back again next week when we start on this, if you can join us for that. I'm just going to finish through the rest of my projects, and as I say, if you want to check on this later, you can find the video up on YouTube. So your animation, you're asking, can anybody take place? Yep. Just a few details of it's standard HD, rendered at 24 frames a second. You can send it in as an MP4. They don't need to include sound. You'll include sound yourself to work out the timing and what you're animating, of course, but they're using the original soundtrack. And that's about it, really. Straightforward. Hi there, Ishwar. Welcome to the stream. Thank you. I hope that you'll be finding the videos useful. So that's my first project I want to start working on. I don't know how many weeks I'll be working on that. I've not started it at all yet. All I've done is taken a little look through the animation, sort of almost frame by frame, but not quite, just to see what's happening, to get a feel for what's working there. But I've not looked at it exactly frame by frame yet, or worked out the timing. That's for later. You asked Enyo about the background. Yes, that's for us to draw as well. So that'll be a repeating cycling background. So again, I'm looking forward to getting to that. It's a good question. I've no idea about the copyright. I don't know quite what would happen legally for something like this. The worst that could happen, is somebody could get sued. Potentially, if they're trying to make money from this, the person that's hosting. But the second worst that could happen is the person hosting could be asked to take it down from their website. That's kind of it. I think for us as animators, if we choose to animate 6 seconds of somebody's cartoon, I can't see that being a problem legally. But I'm not a solicitor, so I don't want to give any kind of advice, but I can't see it being a problem for us. I know other cartoons have been reanimated. You can find them online. As I say, these guys did The Nightmare Before Christmas, the initial song for that. They animated that just before Christmas. That was completed. I've also seen one from The Little Mermaid, one of the songs animated by like 30 different people. That was fantastic, really good. And again, that's on YouTube. You can find it online. I don't know if fair use covers it on YouTube. Possibly, because you're not showing the original, but you are using the original audio, so I'm not sure. So that's the first animation project. The second animation project that I want to take a look at is, which will be in a good month or something after this is complete, is a vector animation that I plan to do. And this is really based on something that happened over Christmas time, on the one day that we were allowed to mix with other people in this country because of the pandemic. I was at my brother-in-law's, and his son, my nephew, was watching a cartoon. It was is it called Hey Duggee? And it's very simple animation, and it's quite repetitive. It's for really young kids, like for 2 to 5 year olds or whatever. And as I was watching it, it just seemed so simply animated, using simple shapes, simple movements, that it kind of got me wondering, could I repeat something similar? So, and as I mentioned earlier, I follow Jer Henning on his Twitch and YouTube, and in fact on Twitter, where he shares his pictures and animations. He's also a member of our Discord, so you'll see things, animations from him on our Discord server. And I've seen some of his animations in vectors, and I've not really worked a great deal in vectors. I've used some a little bit, and people have asked me about vector animation. So I was thinking I'd make a tutorial or two for the Friday tutorials about vector animation, but then I wanted to do a project of my own. So the second project I want to do is a vector animation in that style. And I shared on Twitter and on the Discord about a week ago a small experiment of some vector animation of just some kind of simply drawn animals bouncing up and down just in time to some music I'd got. And that was just to try out a few techniques that I found really useful, and it's something I've wondered about before, and that's using the auto in between option to add movement to characters and see how easy it would be rather than animating by hand or using a plastic tool. Again, it's just another tool in the toolbox that OpenToonz gives us to animate our characters and to make our cartoons. So I wanted to use that and see if it would work, and I was really happy with the output from the tests. So after night to night, the second thing I want to do is the vector animation. So Ishwa was asking about, you've written a story but it's taken a lot of time. I don't know whether to animate frame by frame or just do a narration is good. That's a good question, and it kind of depends on what time you've got yourself. If this is a single kind of project that you want to do as a one-off, or is it one of a series, or with other things, with other cartoons or animations or projects you want to work on. Frame by frame will take you a lot longer. But you talk about doing narration, so I guess narration over static images you might be doing, and perhaps that might be a good idea for an initial project to get used to how to do it, to work out how long it takes to put that part together, kind of a minimal project of narration with some plain drawings. And then potentially as a second project, do some plain drawings but with minimal animation. So either using the plastic tool to make characters move a little bit, or using lip sync, as we discussed earlier, to have your characters speaking to each other, or a little bit more towards, as we talked about earlier, Maria, for Dave from Blender Planet is doing an animation in that sort of style, where there's very limited animation, but it's enough animation to keep characters moving, and he's doing the occasional frame by frame piece as well. So there's lots of layers and choices you can make for how much detail you want to put in. Hi there, Ahmed, or Aladdin. I'm very well, thank you. About the vector animation, what do I think about Rick and Morty's animation? I think it's vector based as well, Toon Boom. I think you're right. I think it is. Rick and Morty feels quite similar to Futurama, which we'll talk about in a second. But I think that is vector animation, possibly with a little bit of rigging in places, a little bit of puppeteering, possibly using the occasional piece from the library that's been drawn previously and then reused, as well as frame by frame in between. So it's difficult to sometimes see the join, but if you examine it closely and take a look frame by frame, I think you will find some repeating cycles. So I think it is, yeah, I think you're right. And Toon Boom Harmony, yeah, it very likely is. Thank you, Enya-san. Yeah, it looks like the kind of thing that if you put your mind to it and had time, almost we could produce as a community, that kind of animation that it's not hand drawn on paper, it's definitely done on computer, and I suspect a little bit of rigging, as you say there, and cut out. But that brings me on to animation number 3. Once I've finished the second one, the third animation I'd like to work on is coming back at last to my Futurama project. At long last. And I'd like to share a little bit of that with you, if I may. So, just to give you some background, and I've talked about Dave before of Blender Planet, and some of you guys I know I've seen over on his channel where he does the live streams and on his other videos. So here's his website, and he's currently producing drawing. He'll do the voices, many of the voices, and animations for a cartoon that he's making, mostly in Critter at the minute, but a little bit in OpenToonz and Tahoma. But I've been following him for a few years now, and if any of you are interested in how he put together an animation, Dave's channel is a great one to follow. So do subscribe and follow him. Search for Blender Planet and you'll find him there. Look for this little monkey fella. But I've been following him for a few years, and during one conversation one day he mentioned Futurama, that had written a script for a Futurama episode, and he'd recorded some of the voices for a few minutes of it, which he played on the channel, and he very kindly shared it with me. And I started last year, the very beginning of last year, animating the first part of the story, and he sent through the full script. I've seen the full story, we've discussed the script quite a lot, and I kind of I wanted to animate the first few minutes of the audio that he'd already recorded, just to see what I could do as a challenge to myself. To see what techniques I could use that I've discussed on the channel, that I've demonstrated in the videos, to produce the first part of this animation. So I've got the first, 30 seconds in, and I'll play that in a second. And I believe in total I've got about 3 or 4 minutes of audio for the start of the story. Dave, you with us? Welcome. Certainly is. It's getting there eventually. Number 3. I don't know how long you've been in the room, but I was just discussing, this whole thing is discussing my plans for next year, and I'm desperate, as I've said to you before, to get to this project. But because it's kind of a larger one than the other two, I want to complete these first 2 projects first, and then we'll get to the Futurama. 2 minutes, okay. Well, you're just in time then. So I've just flashed on the screen, don't know if you noticed, your channel, and I've mentioned this a few times, and I've suggested people pop over to see what you're up to. And even though you're working with Critter most of the time, not OpenToonz or Tahoma, it's still an interesting project you're working on, and you're still solving all the same problems that we'll all come across, whatever software we use. So I've said to people quite a few times to pop over and to watch what you're doing, and I know that some people have. I know Maria's been over there, and Enyo-san we've seen over there, and plenty of other gang from around these parts. So the Futurama project, I was about to play the video of what I got so far, and I took a look at it yesterday, just to remind myself how far I'd got and how much needs to be done. And I went really slowly on the first part, and I was kind of learning a lot as I went along, which was the idea of this project, that I want to just put together the first 3 or 4 minutes, whatever the audio clip is that you shared with me, and just to see if I can get a few techniques together to get the animation running, to see if I can draw in the style of Futurama to make it look, as you said before, as close to the original as possible. And if I can't, so be it. It's still going to be a great learning exercise, and I'll figure out techniques for putting a cartoon together. So that I'll use that for my next cartoon, whichever one it is, whether it be Futurama or something else. But it's kind of a great excuse to get into animation. So let me just, in fact, I can move that away. Let me just bring this up. Thank you. That's very kind. We'll see. We'll see if I can. I'm fairly happy I can do the animation. As I said before quite a few times, it's trying to draw in the style of Futurama. Let me just pause that a second. If it wasn't such a well-known product, it wouldn't be so bad. So if I was, for instance, working with you on your Salt and Light project, you're working out the style for the characters now as you go along. And other people haven't seen those characters. So you drawing them how you are is correct. However you draw them, because they're your characters. Because these characters are so well known, if I'm drawing off model in any way, it'll stand out like a sore thumb. And that's something I don't want. But as I say, even if I can't do it exactly right, I'll enjoy doing it, and we'll see how we get on. So let me just give it a play what I've got so far, and just bearing in mind a lot of what I've done in here, the backgrounds, for instance, I traced over the originals, so I don't want to claim credit that what you see is kind of what I can draw without tracing. This first part is traced. I'd like to move on to not trace so much, as I've said to you before, Dave, but we'll see how we get on. So let me just give this a little play.
Good news, everyone. I've invented an instrument that gives the user the ability to control remote electronic devices.
Hey, that sounds useful.
Most interestingly, it's biotech in origin.
Yeah, right.
It was not manufactured. Oh no, it was grown in a petri dish.
Oh, you gotta like that. Hey, wait a minute. I'm an electronic device.
Indeed, I fashioned it from the DNA of a long-extinct dolphin-like creature's front appendage. I call it a flipper. Observe.
So that's as far as I've got so far. Then it moves on to the storyboard for the rest of the audio that we've got. And as you can see from this sketch, I quickly sketched through the storyboard just to get a rough layout of the characters and the positions, and I won't play the rest of it. So we can see here the audio is 3 minutes and 18 in total. So I'd like to get through that and see what we can produce. And I started off with just the professor, and I thought it seemed sensible to work one character at a time. So on to pick one character, work them through a scene. So next I'll go back to the beginning and then add in Fry or Bender, and then draw them in the positions for each of the scene and kind of animate them a little bit. But we'll see how that goes when I get around to it. Number 3. Thank you, Enyo-san. Thank you. As I said, I feel a little bit that I'm cheating because, and I've made it perfectly clear from the beginning, that I did do some tracing on the backgrounds just to start to get a feel for how it should look and to learn a little bit about what is in the backgrounds and for the professor, for the character, of how to draw him. But that's kind of what I want to work on over the rest of the last 3 minutes, to get a feel for what I can do and how easy it is to put together, and how I can not really cut corners, but kind of cut corners, because the whole episode is going to be 24 minutes or so, I guess, Dave, because it's not been fully recorded. Pretty close, I know you've done so, but not fully timed out properly. But it's going to be a standard episode eventually, episode length eventually. It's about half an hour. So I want to make sure that if we do decide to progress any further with it, that I'm confident in what I can do. So that's what these first few minutes are for, and just to have a go at animating, because it's fun. That's why we're here. So hopefully I can start working on that on the stream a little bit. But we'll see how that goes over the coming weeks. Sorry, Dave, I've just gone to your comment. Is it 38 at the minute? Okay. Some of your voices need improvement. If you say so, I think most of them are pretty good. Leela, I think she needs changing, as you know. And I can't do a good Leela, so don't look at me. I'm sure that'll come together. But most of them are really good. I really like them. We'll see what we can get to later, but for me, that's miles away. And I'm really pleased that you've got the Salt and Light cartoon to work on at the minute, to take up some of your time while I'm trying to catch up and get through what I'm doing. So yeah, so Nighty Night I'm going to start next Sunday. We'll see how well Tahoma works on my stream, or if it's going to crawl slowly as it is a little bit doing today. I'm hoping to get that one completed really in maybe 4 or 5 weeks, because it's quite a short animation, but there's different parts of it that I'll possibly break up for in different streams. Then the vector animation, I'm not sure how long I'll spend on that one or precisely what I'm going to do. I've definitely had a couple of thoughts on what I'd like to do, but I need to rein in my ambition a little bit for that. So that'll be a number of weeks, and then onto the Futurama project that I've been desperate to get back to, so we'll get to that. Yes, Dave, you absolutely got plenty to do. Although, as you said the other day, I believe you're about halfway there. So you've got a double episode, 24 minutes each, and I think you said you'd done about 24 minutes. So yeah, plenty more to do, but I know that your pace is certainly picking up with some of your improvements to your workflow that you're getting used to. Maria, I'm researching apps that can convert text to multiple voices. How would it do that? Oh, I guess you mean you've got is it a text to voice program that speaks your voice, and then you break your text up into different files and it produces different voices. I say have a go yourself, like exactly as Dave is doing. And we might not all be as good as Dave. Don't want to blow smoke up you, but you're pretty good. You know you are. But have a go yourself. Why not? That's part of animation, is playing with the voices yourself. I mean, if you go to some of the animation films, you'll see that if you look at like the traditional Disney animations, a lot of them were voiced by the producers or the writers originally to get the script together and to build up the animatic. I know Aladdin, I believe, was his voice was done by the artists or the writers for that first, before Robin Williams came in. I seem to recall that in The Incredibles, Edna Mode, she was a voice that was done by John Lasseter, possibly one of the producers originally, did the voice just for what the kind of voice he wanted to have. But then by the time they got to the final recording, they kept his original voice in, so it's his voice in the final film. Yeah, you mentioned that Valerie does them. So yeah, it'd be great to get her in there. Oh, sorry, Valerie gets shy about recording. Oh, that's okay. You said she does some voices for you though. I agree, Amar. I remember someone the other day chatting about this. I don't want to name names because I might just get it totally wrong, but somebody asked about voice changing, to try and change your voice to be higher or lower to create different voices for animations. I think a little bit is okay, but anything more than a small change just sounds too artificial. Yeah, it's easy to be shy on this sort of thing. Me too. I'm not a big fan. I've tried a few times recording voices, and as soon as you play them back, the sound you hear isn't the sound you think you hear when you first recorded them. But it's worth having a go anyway. Maybe even just doing the voices for a bit of fun with the intention of deleting them later could be worthwhile. Absolutely, Dave. That would be really good. That'd be really useful, I think, for a lot of people. And again, that'd be useful, I think, something we should share on the Discord server for the guys on my side to see. I think a lot of people would find that useful. Yeah, Mel Blanc, absolutely, Amar. He was the top dog. I think like a lot of things, because you've mentioned Amar singing, how it is just a case of it sounds simple, but listening and repeating. So I think voices is the same. It's just practice and practice, and then really listen to what you've done and to what you've recorded. Change it, try again, and practice. But as you've mentioned, Dave, there are techniques, and you need to warm up your voice to be able to do so, to do different voices. So I think that'd be really useful. So if you wanted to put that together, either in one of your streams or as a separate video, that'd be great to see. ttsmp3.com. Thank you, Calogero. Calogero, sorry. I keep pronouncing your name wrong, sorry. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, take a look, see if that's helpful. But if you can at all, try and do them yourself, or find somebody that's not too shy to have a go at recording your voices, or if you've got a friend in the house that wants to have a go. And remember that when you record your voice, there is only you and a microphone. Don't think about who's going to watch the cartoon. Just think about and concentrate on doing the voice, I think. I know when I did the Nixon video towards the end of last year, I recorded that clip I don't know how many times before it got to the final piece. And it got to the final one, and I just said to myself, that's close enough. It's going to have to stay. But the first few recordings were absolutely terrible. So do remember, when you're recording, you're choosing what to keep. So record it, then hit delete. Then record it again, hit delete, and eventually you'll get something you're happy with. Yeah, I think you're right, Amar. Everybody does. Especially those of us that are doing drawings and animation. I think secretly inside, we're all kind of acting out the characters we're being. And as you see animators doing all the time, when they're drawing, the faces are mimicking the face they're drawing, and they're mouthing the words as they're drawing them and doing the voices. So have a go. Okay, so let me just quickly look at the next section that I wanted to consider. Yeah, and that's help and support. So what do I actually do for this? So there's a couple of things I do. So on the Discord server, you'll see me on there answering questions and helping out where I can, and that's in my Discord and in a few other people's Discords as well. And this I mainly do outside of work and outside of time. So I do this when I'm sitting on a bus using my phone, or after I've had my tea sitting on the sofa. So it doesn't take up too much time, but that's an ongoing thing to consider. Also, there's other areas where I answer questions and help out. There's on the Reddit servers, on my Facebook, and that's on my Darren Tea account, and also on the OpenToonz accounts where people are asking questions. Twitter, I get personal messages coming through asking questions. And of course on the YouTube videos. So again, I'm listing these down here and detailing this, probably more for me than for you guys, just to kind of run through my own mind. I want to kind of have this as a New Year's resolution to see what I considered at this time of the year, where I'm going to put my effort and energy, and where I need to expend my time. I've thought about that, Enyo-san. Thank you for the question about creating a website for this sort of thing. I did originally plan to do so before the Discord server, but I didn't want to have just a one-way transfer of knowledge. So I didn't want to have a website with FAQ, setup, help, tips, that kind of thing. I wanted to have more of a conversation. And because I'd used Discord with other people and other groups. That's why I created the Discord server. And that's one of the reasons why earlier on in the stream I went through the Discord server today, to show exactly that, where you can find the FAQ, the essential information for setting up OpenToonz and Tahoma, useful links, as well as the two-way conversation. So Discord seems more appropriate. The only downside is you can't Google to find that, whereas you Google to find websites, general websites. But ideally, I think what would be useful would be to get in touch with Shun or whoever runs the website for OpenToonz and add the FAQ and information on there, really. Because I know that, as I say, I've got information on my site. There's the OpenToonz and Tahoma Discord. On Reddit, there's FAQ and pinned messages. So there's lots of information around, but the one place it isn't stored or available is on the OpenToonz website. So it'd be good if somehow we could get a group together to help change that and to build that up to more of a useful resource. But I don't quite know how we can do that. If you have any thoughts, chip in, please let us know. I think that'd be useful. But I'm finding that the the two-way conversation on the Discord, I'm finding that I'm enjoying that more. It just means that people have got to find me before they can get to that, which is why I keep promoting it on the YouTube channel and wherever I can. And again, if you guys can share it around, that helps everybody. Hi there, Ori. I'm not sure what your quote comment was, but quote back at you. So next in here for the help and support is also a little thing that I've mentioned before. Awkward Pain, hi there. My day's been very well. I've spent a little bit of time today preparing for this stream to go through everything. Today I'm not doing any drawing or animation or tutorials. I'm just taking a look at what I will be doing starting from next week. But it's good to have you with us today. So I've mentioned this a few times today, but in help and support I've also got my course on Udemy. And this is something that isn't there to give me an income. I know you have to pay to buy it, obviously. But the idea of the course was to find one location to share the knowledge to use OpenToonz or Tahoma from the beginning of knowing nothing through to understanding it enough to create your own cartoon. And doing that in YouTube videos wasn't really enough. They're all, as I've said before, it's quite scatter shot of information. Even though I've got 2 or 3 videos on a certain subject, like I've got a playlist on lip syncing we discussed earlier, and another playlist on an animation process, which is a series of 4 videos. The rest of them are just kind of scattered videos around. So I've not really got a set number of videos to take you through that process. And I didn't want to try and put that through on YouTube. It didn't feel like the right place to do so. So a separate course was where I did it. And the Udemy courses are often on sale. So if you're interested in taking it, it's not a fortune. I get a small portion of the payment, so I'm not retiring to the beach just yet. But it's a small contribution that helps me out a little bit. But the main thing is getting the course out there and getting the information to you. Yes, Alan, I do update it from time to time, and I'll get to that in a second. I wanted to, while I got to this section, quickly show you on screen, again, not as a sales pitch, but just to mention it, to show you the course here. So it's broken down into a number of sections, 12 sections here, with each section having a number of videos and then some downloads of information. So I've got getting started of installing and doing your first drawing and animation, and then rendering it out. You'll notice here, Alan, that I've already prepared a couple of new videos for installing Tahoma 2D and about setting up your graphics card. And these aren't yet published, but I'm hoping in possibly 2 weeks 1 or 2 weeks to get these published, and I'll let you all know when it's available. For those of you that have bought the course, I'll drop an announcement through Udemy. So you'll get an email about that, but I'll also tweet out about it. I'll possibly put a video together on a Friday, mention it in a stream, that kind of thing. But I'm putting together some videos here about creating a project which is slightly different into Homer to OpenToonz. So I'll adjust these around some extra drawing features you get into Homer. So yeah, in a couple of weeks' time, there'll be another half dozen videos in there to cover to Homer, because most of what's in here now, 95-98%, works with both OpenToonz and Tahoma. And that's because Tahoma is just OpenToonz really, but with a different skin and a few extra features and bug fixes. So if you're interested in learning a bit more about OpenToonz and learning a bit more detail about OpenToonz, then perhaps take a look at the course. But if you don't want to or can't afford to, that's fine. On the YouTube channel, I've got plenty of videos that you can dip into and try and figure out most of it. It's just slightly less organised. So that's the Udemy course. So as part of the help and support here, it includes creating some new lessons. But then since the course was released and ongoing, I'm answering questions about the course over on Udemy as well and responding to that. So that takes up a little bit of my time as well. Okay, so the final part of this quartet is personal learning. Thank you, Punish, thank you. It's very kind. So I'd like to do a bit more personal learning this year, and it's something I wanted to do last year, and I just didn't quite make the time for a multitude of reasons. So one of the first things I want to do throughout this year is to complete hang on, this is just doing that crazy thing again that it does sometimes. There we go. Okay. To complete a drawing course that I've already bought myself from Udemy. And this is about drawing fundamentals and character creation. Oops. If I could spell right. Terrible writing, but I blame the lag. So I'm to complete the drawing course. Let me just move that over. Okay, so I've already started on this, and the way the course is meant to be taken is that he asks you to watch all the videos first. Are you, Ahmed? Great. Yeah, to watch all the videos first from beginning to the end, and I don't know how many hours long it is in total. It must be double figures. It must be at least 10 hours. It's quite a long course, and I'm about halfway through on that. And then when you get to the end, start back at the beginning, watch them again, but this time actually take part in the exercises. So where he talks about drawing the character's head or drawing the proportions of the body, you then draw them and practice. So I kind of want to get through that during this year, and I'm giving myself a deadline of the end of the year, which is quite broad, but something I'll need to keep an eye on, which again is why I've done this stream today, to note it down and give myself a bit of a deadline to work on. So at the minute, as I said earlier, I'm working full time, but I'm currently working from home because of Mr. COVID. But then when I go back to the office, I catch the bus. It's quite a journey, so I intend to download to my phone each morning or each evening a video the next day to watch on the bus on the way to or from work, and then in the evenings practice some drawing sometime, and the deadline for doing the drawing and working out when I'll do those, I'll have to come back to later. We'll have to see what time we've got for that. So for personal learning on to do that, I also want to just work on some of my own projects myself, and I'm giving myself a lot here, but it's kind of things on my mind that I want to at least consider trying to do this year. So one thing I'd like to try and do is to work on two things. So work on some character design, and this will be this is going really slow today. Okay, so working on character design, and this will be taking a look at other people's characters, breaking them down, and then almost following what they've done. So I'd like to take some classic cartoon characters, whether it be Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd, really classic characters, and break them down, practice drawing them. Also some newer characters, the Rick and Mortys. I modded in Futurama separately. So I'd like to try and work on some character design, understand how the characters are put together, whether it be the shapes they use or the size of them, the proportions between the shapes. Because I know, for instance, one of my failings is I draw features far too small. So if I'm drawing a head that size, I'll often draw the eyes kind of that size maybe, when you can get away with a cartoon character having much larger eyes and much larger features. And that's part of the exaggeration rule that you work with in animation. And that's something that I struggle with so much that I kind of, that's one of the reasons for working on this character design. What character course do I recommend? I've been asked. I don't know if I could necessarily recommend many of them with honesty, but the course I'm looking at myself that I bought and I'm working through, I'd really recommend it. I'm just digging it out now to tell you what it's called. Okay, so the one I'm working on is Character Art School Complete Character Drawing Course. Let me click on that, see if I can bring that over for you. Or if it'll go straight to my lesson. Okay, so this is the course I'm taking. If I just play it so you can see the guy that's running it. There we go. We try and find his name. Bum, 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 bum. Scott Harris. So this is the course I'm taking. I'm really enjoying it so far. And everything it's talked about, it's felt really useful. So I'm looking forward to going through it again and actually doing the drawing. So there's the course title at the top. Character Art School Complete Character Drawing Course. So again, it's just a course I came across. I watched his introduction. I read some reviews. It looked really good. And I'm really happy so far. So yeah, so if you want to take a course, that's one I'd recommend for sure. But I've yet to complete it, so we'll see how it goes. Um, 26.5 hours. Is that right, Ahmed? Yeah, I know it was a long course. Some of the lessons themselves are 10 minutes a piece, sometimes longer. Others are 2 or 3 minutes. So it's a wide variety. But there's lots to learn, lots and lots. So I really want to get into that. That's right, Enyo-san, I couldn't agree more. It depends on style to how much you exaggerate and how much you need to exaggerate. But it's just something that holds me back, and I know it does. And it's not just the proportions and the size of things, it's the drawing, physical drawing style. So the way I draw things too neatly and too tightly. I need to relax, draw a bit looser. I've always known this, and I've struggled. And it's something that is mentioned on the course at the very beginning, which is one of the reasons why I bought it, because I know it's something I need to work on. Yep, absolutely. Seeing comics and manga, that's exactly part of the plan, is to pick different characters from different genres, have a look at them, try drawing them to see how I get on, which leads me to the final point for this section, and that is to make some small animations. And I put this one in to my list because I follow quite a few people on Twitter, quite a few animators, and some of them just make these daily, semi-daily, weekly animations of something very simple, no backgrounds, just white background with characters drawn in grey or black, doing some activity. So it kind of, I see these each day or quite regularly, and it makes me think, that's a good way to learn. It's a good way to practice, and getting these animations shared out there is a really useful way to hold yourself to account, to show people what you're doing, and to feel a little bit braver about what you're doing with animations. But I kind of can't do the small animations with characters, not comfortably, until I've done the previous two by working through this course, practicing some more drawing and practicing some character design. So that's kind of where I want to end up in my personal learning. So by the end of the year, I want to have shared a few small animations. So if I just show all of this by right-clicking and fit to window. So that is my plan for this year. Let's make this bigger to fit the gap we've all got in here. Fantastic. So these are the things I want to work on. Yeah, continue with my YouTube tutorials, sharing tutorials and tips and news, focusing more perhaps on the tips to make shorter videos. And then I've not put it on here, but let me add, let's throw in another colour, why not? For YouTube's, give myself permission to not make a video, to miss a Friday. So let me note this down more for me. Let's make this smaller. And holding shift when you resize keeps the text uniform. So I'm officially give myself permission to miss a Friday video. Let me get rid of that. So I'm not going to put myself under pressure to release a video if I've not got time. In fact, I'm going to make you red because this is really important. And likewise for the streaming section here, I'm going to give myself permission to miss a stream. So if I'm too busy or don't have time to prepare properly, then I simply won't run a stream. I'm not going to run a stream where I'm going to rush, I've not got time, I'm going to make a bad experience for you or not be able to present what I want to present in the right way, I simply won't run one. I only want to run a stream where it's useful to me or it's useful to you. So as I said before, do subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and hit that bell so that you're notified when I do release a video and when I do run a stream. But I'm aiming to try and run the streams each Sunday at 4 PM UK time. That's something I've not got up here. Let me just go to that drawing. Okay. So every Sunday at 4 PM I'm going to try and run the stream, and I may well have another stream in the middle of the week, especially as I'm working on animations. If that goes well to work on those, I may well jump on for an hour during the week if I find time. And for those streams there will just be literally the animation side of things, so I won't be putting together other people's videos and images to share. I'll just jump on and we'll start animating. But I will try and give you notice of an hour or so if I can. So if I finish work and decide I'm going to stream at night, so 7 PM at UK time, you know, by 5-6 o'clock I'll have posted the stream event, so you'll get a notification and you can see the countdown to join if you want to. So I'll try and stick with that. But I'm really looking forward to working through those. Sorry, let me I've got to pop this little fella up for a second if I can. There he is. Come and read these comments. How can I use rhubarb? Don't eat the leaves is great advice, Dave. So there's two ways you can use rhubarb. Rhubarb, for those of you that don't know, is a lip sync tool that converts audio files into the text files that you can import into OpenToonz for organising your lip sync animations. And you run it on command line. So if you go to the Rhubarb website on GitHub, it's got the command line options there. They are confusing, and I didn't take a look at it for long at first when I saw it, until I got a message of somebody asking me how to work it, and I took a second look, and even then it took a while to decipher how to do it, and it's pretty tricky, but I figured it out, how to run the command line. Excuse me. Lovely. And then I shared that information on, but it was kind of such a simple command line tool that I decided to go ahead and create an application to do so. So again, shameless plug if you don't mind. Let me take you to my Gumroad site if you've not been there before. And that's on gumroad.com/Darren Tea Anims. So let me bring that over here. So I mentioned this because you can search through my YouTube videos to find the video on this. So I made a video about quite a few videos about lip syncing and one about rhubarb, and I made this tool for auto lip sync, and you can take a look at the video here. I believe, did I share it here, or did I share a link? I can't remember. No, I didn't. So I've got a video on this on my site, and I built this tool to help run it easier rather than the command line. But if you find the video on my site, search for rhubarb or look in the lip sync playlist, and in there I believe I've detailed the command line options to run command line if you want to. Again, I'm not trying to charge you if I don't have to. You can use the command line, but if you want to use it easier, I made this small tool to be able to use it and create the same file using the rhubarb library, and it's little payment of at least £1 to download that, which is pretty insignificant if you want to do so, But if not, take a search on the channel and you'll find the video for that. It's pretty simple. To basically run the tool, you pass it an MP3 file, audio file, it'll examine it and then produces a text file to import into OpenToonz. So take a look at my playlist and you'll find that. Yep, absolutely, Amar. OBS is pretty straightforward. When I first tried streaming in the middle of last year, all I did was share my OpenToonz screen and nothing else. Good morning, Ishwar. Is it Monday? I lose track of days. Still Sunday night here. In fact, what time is it? How long have we been going? 6:30. 2.5 hours. That's a bit longer than I planned today. Yes, so the first streaming was just the program. And then I brought in my webcam from my laptop, popped it in the corner, figured out how to do that by following a YouTube tutorial. And then I just went on from there, picking up piece by piece of how to do it. I'm certainly not the best at doing this, but I figured out a few things that I'm happy with. But yeah, jump on YouTube, search for OBS. It's pretty straightforward, to be honest. Ah, hello India. I hope you're doing okay. So yeah, so there's my plan for the coming year, and starting next Sunday we'll be working on these streams to see how smoothly they go, and we'll take a look at the first collaboration. So if you've got any more questions, pop them in the chat, because I'm going to disappear in a few minutes and call it an evening and go get some tea myself. So I'll give you a few minutes in case you've got any questions. I don't think there's anything coming through just yet, so I'll give you last few seconds and then we'll wind up and call it a day. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to render this. In fact, let's do it now. Render and output settings. Let me name this 2021 plan. There's an image. I'm saving it at full resolution, so no shrink, and hit save and render. And then this image I'll then print out and save it somewhere to see how I get on during the year and at the end of the year. Well, thank you, Alan. It's been great having you here today. And the rest of you, thank you for joining me today. So don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of when the next stream occurs. Hopefully next Sunday at the same time. And I'll have a video next Friday. Oh, cheers, Dave. Thank you. That's very kind of you. So for those that are interested, Dave is streaming shortly. So if you want to jump onto his stream after this, please do so. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So search for Blender Planet on YouTube and you'll come across him. No problem, Ahmed. Enjoy the course. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So thanks all for joining me this week. And I'll see you next week. And that's a Darren Tea. Have you always wanted to animate but didn't know how to start, and software seemed expensive and difficult to use? Well, with OpenToonz, it's free, powerful, and once you know how, it's easy to use. And it's my mission to get you animating with it today. Hi, my name's Darren, and I've been teaching OpenToonz for the past 3 years, showing thousands of students just like you how easy it is to animate with, and cutting through the jargon to show that anyone can animate with it. And by the end of the course, you'll be able to animate traditionally using OpenToonz. And the course is designed for students brand new to OpenToonz, as well as those new to animation. So take a look at the free lessons I've offered below, and then why not sign up and join me animating traditionally with OpenToonz.